You don't.
No, to be honest, one of the things that I'm really happy about that we dived into this season is, with our son, with Xavier's storyline as well, dealing with your dealing with your sexuality, dealing with that in the black family, which kind of swept under the rug in traditional black families, and we kind of addressed it in a very very wonderful way. I feel like kudos to the writers again for not being heavy handed, but subtly educational and showing what that dynamic would look like in a real home. And I think it's relatable. I think it really will hit home.
And I agree with Columbus. I think one of the beautiful things about our sitcom is that the Williams family reflects so many black families across the American landscape, especially when we're dealing like the first season when we dealt with sending our kids off to these private schools and not teaching them about black history at home. And I think that really resonated with people. I had people stopping me in the street saying, we're having the same conversation in my house. And so we deal with some real stuff that families deal with. And I think even trying to save a business after COVID. So we're dealing with what I think the reflection of our country and the families that are in it. Why not?
Exactly. Yeah, and I also think too, I think it's just like also showing aspects of the beautiful parts of being in a black family, because I feel like a lot of times just like even in media too, like talking about children's sexualities and talking just about like acceptance, there's usually a negative outlook over that and a negative lens. But through this light, it just shows that like when a family loves their family members and the people in it, that should be the most important thing that is always focused on and always the first thought that comes to mind. And I think we just do it beautifully.
Yeah, man. There's a really beautiful moment. I can't remember what episode, but where I approached it from the lens of a black father, right? A black father that son, is gay, and so approaching that, it was a moment for me because I had to step out into, okay, what would I really do as a father? How would and the truth of the matter is, just like I love Bryce Xavier, it's like I love my son. It's like, you know what I mean? There is no, and at the end of the day, when you see that, because traditionally, the reason I think that, I don't know how we're going here, but I think it's important to talk about. The reason I feel like there's been so much shame on people with their sexuality is because we don't talk about it and it's been shunned and it's frowned upon. And so people, now we're in an era where I feel like the communication and the the understanding and the patience. I think showing those that kind of content to a wayward generation. To be honest, I think it's A1 work. I think it was me and Bryce, right, Bryce? I think we literally had that conversation.
We talked about it season 1. Yeah, exactly. Before we even knew that season 2 was going to be a thing, it was like a big note that honestly, like Columbus started the conversation first with me, just saying like, he was like, I think it's like a beautiful thing that like it shows that we just were so normal about it. Like we were just talking about me being like open, me being in a fashion, me being flamboyant in the show. And I think there's some beauty in the fact that it wasn't a huge big topic. But again, like he's saying, with education comes representation. Like, we need to show exactly how you get there so other families know where to start. A lot of the times, it's not that the families don't love their kids and they don't want to get that acceptance. They just don't know where to begin because, again, it's like so deeply like ingrained into just like generations and the way that people are raised.
And it starts that interpersonal conversation between my wife and I, right, where we knew this day was going to come, or we were going to have to deal with this issue, which, again, so many households throughout the world, I'm sure, have had to deal with, even their daughter losing her virginity or whatever. The conversation, the sex conversation, it has to come up at some point. And so being able to navigate those things, I think, are really watch-worthy. That's all.
Actually, when we like wrap season 2, and I feel like now, like I'm 23, I feel like a lot of myself and my friends, we think we know everything now that we're like in our 20s. And just like playing AJ this season, I feel like it was just like it felt so free to like really realize, 1, not everything's about me, and also 2, like I don't know everything still. and to understand the fact that there is a reason why growing up in a household, specifically a Black household, that you should respect your elders, and like they do have a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience to really give you to lean on in situations where you might feel like you don't really know the direction and the right way that you're doing things. And I feel like I learned a lot from the season of just even in between like filming, like offset, just like specifically just like with like you, Ro, like with Rolanda, like I tell her all the time, I'm just like I really feel like I've just been a better person, learned so much being around her, just like on set, and just like hearing her tell me to just like slow down and like enjoy, like live in the moment, like not go too fast with things, not speed through stuff. And I've just like applied that even in situations where my mom's telling me stuff and she's like, you need to slow down. Instead of just being like, Mom, like I'm grown, like I know everything now. I'm like really thinking like she's probably been here before and she's telling me off of experience because she wants me to do something different, better in a different way than she did. So yeah, just like learning to just like be more open to like dialogue with people that obviously have experience to share.
I tell Bryce, remember, everything you've done, I've done it 3 times.
Yes, she does say that. She definitely does.
Well, wow. For me, for sure, life can imitate art. Art can imitate life at times. And so it's no secret, you know, in my real life, I'm going through a divorce, and Aaliyah finds herself, my character, going through a divorce. And so, you know, when we approach as actors our characters, you look to find that truth inside of you. So for me, I'm literally sitting in this. I think what I've learned is in the show, we have such a great approach of finding humor in real life situations. So things that I was dealing with in my real life that are heavy, you know, getting on set and being with my family here and dealing with these same topics and challenges on the show, Aaliyah is able to find a creative way to bring humor to a dark situation. And I think that's what I learned even in my real life, how to approach it and just be lighter. And I just appreciate even the cast, because in real life, we would have these conversations in between takes. And laughing a lot is so healthy. And I think that's also what makes our show so beautiful, is that with all of the topics and the conscientious conversations we're having, we are making people laugh again. And right now, I don't know about y'all, but I think as society, we are dealing with some dark times and things that are heavy. And so being able to bring humor and laughter is beautiful. And so for my character and in my real life, I've learned that to just find the humor in situations that you may want to cry about, being able to push through. And that's what Aaliyah, you'll see her being a lot more free, bonding with her bestie, you know, being more open and being able to get that advice that I do take in my real life as well. So for Aaliyah, it was a great season of just blossoming, I'll say.
This season has blossomed. You guys get to see a lot more of the behind the scenes of her life and how she is navigating being that single girl in the world, and how she is holding up her best friend in tough times, and how I bring that into like my personal life. I take my friendships, like I said earlier, so serious. Like people know that how I operate in you know, being a friend, and I feel like being able to show that in a show situation, it like reminds people in their real lives, like, hey, you know, you want a friend, be friendly. You know, it's simple. It's not that hard. But I think that we shape life by creating this art. Like we give people perspective on how to approach the topics that we've been talking about. We dive into some without giving up. There's so much good stuff this season. Ooh, like I want to talk about one of them, but I'm trying to hold it back. There's times when we had to, you know, wipe tears in the midst of the laughing, and really deal with some subjects that probably are going to hit home with a lot of people, and they probably will find how to navigate their own lives by watching us get through and get over some hurdles. So that's truly exciting.
What about you, Karen?
To add to that, I think family is the first business we ever run, you know, and so if we don't learn to invest love, manage conflicts, honor everyone's role, then the family will crumble. And this season really hit for me that family is not blood, it's your willingness to show up. And we all show up for each other, on camera and behind the scenes. And just to piggyback on what Drew was saying, I'm thinking of moments when Bryce and I were, upstairs, laughing, kikiing. Columbus is down on the set saying something crazy that's making us laugh. And, whether it's talking about Uber rides or my child who's in the emergency room bleeding out, it's just craziness just happened. But at the end of the day, we were there for each other. And it's honoring the roles that we all play. We all have a space to fill, we all have a voice, and we all have love. And I think that's what makes us special and unique.
I don't have much of a family. So this is the biggest family I've ever had, to be honest with you. So I'm just kind of living vicariously through Lucille, who has these beautiful human beings around them that she happens to be related to by blood. I personally, as someone who doesn't have much family at all, it has been personally gratifying for me and an honor, quite honestly, and a unique experience.
Oh,
Love you, Auntie.
Love
Y'all
you
are
back.
really too cute. Like it's like real bad how cute y'all are all together.
So we know Columbus, from all the amazing work he's done. He's so triple talented from dancing and music and singing and drama, okay? But I personally didn't know how funny he was, So we had done a project before. I don't know if you remember, bro, even the project we did, was it a movie Influence or something like that? It was a drama. So I was like, okay, I know he gets down and busy. But when we got on Mind Your Business, the amount of laughter, the way my cheeks were hurting, my stomach was in pain, and I just admired how quick he is on his feet, his improv skills. It reminds you of a modern day Martin Lawrence. Being on set, that's exactly the mindset it puts me in. It's like, we are recreating something historical here. And as Karen said earlier, he is really our leader. He is my big brother in real life, on set. He is our matriarch. He is we go to him for guidance. And really, truly, it's just been a pleasure, an honor. If we're not singing on set, we're laughing. If we're not laughing, we're crying. And I'm really excited for you guys to see even that this season is just the emotional boundaries we continue to push, because there was real moments, and you guys will see it, where we had to take a break and just gather ourselves because it got so deep and so real for us. And I think, Columbus, you might know what scene I'm talking about, but I'm really excited for you guys to see the depths that we're able to go to even as actors. And I believe that, and I'll say this on record, he has challenged me in my growth as an actor, for sure.
I gotta say this, Columbus is a whole masterclass, okay?
A whole master.
I'm like, y'all gonna pay me to learn from this great?
Yes.
No problem.
Yes.
No problem at all. To watch him, so we have writers even on the set who are punching up, doing comedy punch-ups in the moment. This guy here, he's like, oh, on the next take, I'm gonna get you. Like, if you get him, I'm gonna get you. Oh, I got your neck. So you don't even know what's coming. Like, when I say it's authentic, you guys are gonna be like, oh, they couldn't have written that. Like that, it was just so.
Like, we were surprised too.
Yeah.
Like we were shocked as well. Yeah.
So working with everyone, but started with Drew. And I never said this to her, so you guys can hear this first. First season, I love Drew. She is I have that natural protection I have, over her. And I knew she was going through what she was going through. So I wanted her time on set in the Mind Your Business bubble to be a place of safety and a place where she wasn't thinking about or worrying about, the personal things happening. Because that's what it is for me. When I come to work, I don't care what's going on at home. Diving into a character, or no one would know if I was having the worst day once I'm on a Mind Your Business set, because the day changes. When you dive into those characters, and the funny is infectious, and so I wanted to make sure that energy was always on our set, and it's big because I believe that the energy of what you see with us is the same energy our crew has. All of the ingenues from Drew, Auntie, Braley, and of course Karen, they are, they're treated with respect by the crew because they give respect. So that's amazing on Drew. Period. Point blank. And she's focused up. I remember first season, she was going back and forth to the show, the other show, and she was like, I don't even know if I want to do it anymore because I'm loving this, like really acting, and it's been amazing to see her blossom. I'm super proud of her. And working with Braley, I didn't know Braley was just pure nuts, and she's insane. And she presses me, she challenges me, and that's the beauty of scenes of always pressing the line and challenging one another, and to see the growth. In, Rolanda's going to be a nut. We sometimes can't make it, but we can't get through. But watching the growth of Xavier and Chloe into this next season, and God willing, we have season 3. I love watching actors and actresses, ingenues, and thespians, kind of as they maturate into their, and all that means is them getting more comfortable in them. When you're the most comfortable in you, it's easier to embody or put on a character. I'm really proud of everybody right now. You didn't know what to expect coming into the show from the top, but I'm just blessed that we're doing something special. Well, first of all, the game, the industry is it's tricky, right? And people, I've seen time and time again women on sets be disrespected or treated a certain kind of way, and it hurts performance. If a woman is treated a certain kind of way and feels uncomfortable with something that happened off camera, what it's going to affect what's happening on camera. I always look out because we're a team, right? So I'm always looking out and making sure everyone's good and feels safe in a safe place to create and be free to create with no judgment, no limitations, but just real artistry. So I guess I'm a protector of the craft. I'm a protector of it.
It's like a blessing. It's just like to be able to make y'all proud, to have a project that the whole family can sit in the living room again, gather up with kids and watch this, and then have a conversation with your family about the topic that you just watched is important to us.
It's the piece of material that you attach yourself, and that's the agenda that you're attaching yourself to. And what I mean by that is I'm very proud to be. We are on the front lines of what we can mirror, what we want our culture to see, and download into their spirits of unity, family, of solidarity. Not a single family home, a divided home, but to family in a real sense. And I think those kind of images and that kind of content and those kind of narratives need to be up in the forefront, especially like Drew said earlier, in times like these. And you go online and it's sickening. I can't even go. I can't scroll on IG too long. It's too much. But right. I think this is a nice moment, like Braley just said, where it's a mandatory moment for families to come together and sit on the couch and at least take 30 minutes out of their crazy week. Some families don't even sit down at the dinner table together. You know what I mean? So to sit down and laugh with your family goes a long way.
Yeah, to piggyback on that, it's such a huge honor that we get to shepherd in this legacy building, this narrative that we're leaving for our generation, for future generations, showing what a complex multi-generational family can look like, from auntie on down, with varied perspectives, tackling our sexual expression, tackling health issues, the dynamics between my character and Drew's character. There's a real power in that sisterhood. And there's just something very palpable and potent in exploring our rawness, our humanity. We're flawed, we're imperfect. But again, we come back to love and we come back to acceptance. And I think the more that the world sees that reflected in our Williams dynamic, hopefully we carry that story forward in the world and people do that in their own lives. So
I want to say this to what you just said, and I just reading about this. This is the first time in human history where 4 generations are alive at the same time, and we show that dynamic in our show, from Auntie to Karen to our kids, and showing that there is it's a changing of what, like we were talking about, understanding. We're not in 1965 anymore. We're not, kids are different, and finding that way to communicate with one another that are from different generations.
And to your point, Columbus, and this may resonate with you, it's very important for me to hold a pillar of elegance as a woman, as a mother, the first home that my children have, and to represent that in the media landscape. And when we had that, and Columbus, you and I have had so many conversations with the Claire Huxtable, and not from a space of I'm different, but just from a space of flawed and acceptance and love and class and grace. And I think our family does a good job of doing that, in our messiness, in our rawness, in our being imperfect. I need to really hit that.
I have to say it.
Yes.
You know what? Like, Karen is absolutely, I mean, she's beautiful right now on this FaceTime, but in real life, like, she's gorgeous, right? And to see a beautiful Black woman, professional woman, tend to her family, tend to her man, doing all of those things that there's a generation underneath of Karen that I don't have to do that. They don't, it's a whole different, but because it's like, nah, I don't have, it's not submissive. It's power in what she's doing. That's her, showing that this is her kingdom, the home, and there's no operation of that home without her. And to see that's an image. That's where young men are going to say, I want my wife to be like that. That's what I wish, that I want that to be my mom. And
that's possible. And that partnership that Kimberly and Alfonso have, that leadership, knowing when the husband and father is going to put his voice down and say, this is how we're going, and trusting the woman's energy, what she brings to it, which for me, a man that's strong in his masculinity, is strong in his strength, can allow a woman to lead and it not be a threat. And I think we could get real deep, y'all. So just let us know.
Yes. Well, to me, this means love and family and passion. Because this means I'm really passionate about this show, and I'm passionate about everything. And I'm really dedicated to it. And I love doing this. And I love doing this with you guys.
And we love you.
Oh, sure do.
No, and that's another thing. Like, dealing with, every one of us has issues, and it could be multitude issues happening at any given one moment or any given one episode. But when you deal with Chloe's issues, right, our daughter's issues, with everything is relative. So as adults, they might be like, "Oh, that's petty. That ain't no." But for kids that are watching the show with their family, that those dynamics, those feelings, those emotions, jealousy, all of the things, that. And I'm sure season 3 we're going to dive into more of her becoming a young woman and all of those things that we're going to have to navigate. But watching Chloe being able to grow with us, and letting the world be able to see her grow at the same time, and her friends, right? When she friends at school, they can relate, right? And there's a whole generation of that. So I think checking all the boxes generationally, but putting it in a nice jambalaya and making it make sense for everybody to digest is wonderful.